So let's get stuck into it. Stock of the day is not Wesfarmers because it's one of the suggested stocks a bit later on. They, of course, had their trading update today, so we'll go into that in a bit more detail a bit later in the program. But our stock of the day, Clinuvel Pharmaceuticals, shares up pretty strongly in trading this morning after announcing it's completed enrolment in its study of one of their treatments for one of their stroke medications. And it's always pharmaceuticals and these med techs are fascinating, and particularly when they make progression in developing a particular drug. Mathan, what did you think of the announcement today and also the stock as it is?
Yeah, look, it's an interesting time in the cycle for biotechs. 2021 was a great year for most biotechs. I mean, in Australia, we have a lot of small biotechs, and then we got CSL with the behemoth that does everything. So if you don't know anything, you just buy CSL, and CSL is a market darling. Now, Clinuvel it's actually got a lot of ponies. I mean, I'm a big fan of biotechs. They'll give me the same risk return as mining stocks. Blue sky upside, a lot of risk while they're doing it. And you have to know management, you have to trust management, because at the end of the day, this is about the blue sky treatment that they have to go through these processes, regulatory play, prove it, and the concept has to work. But the trick with biotech is you want to have a basket of stocks because you just don't know which one's going to do well and de-risk your investment. Now, the good thing about someone like Clinuvel is they've got multiple ponies running. So there are different I suppose, solutions that they're working on, and all you need is one or two to come through and you've made the jackpot. So in that context, I think it stacks up relatively well. The only problem I've got is it's just the macro where we are in the market. So classic growth stock. So the market at the moment wants to buy value stocks, cyclical growth stocks, not your classic growth stocks. So the biotechs and the tech stocks that did really well, the healthcare stocks that did really well through last year, will have a tougher run at this point. But in saying that, Clinuvel's, it's one of those things. There's I suppose, tale of two cities. There's one part of the growth stocks that have already been hammered, and the other part of the growth stocks haven't been hammered. So Clinuvel is in the one that's come back. I mean, if you look at the last probably 12 to 18 months chart, it's a very similar trend to what's happening with CSL. So it's more of a macro trade on what's happening. So they have a decent pipeline, a lot of products in play. So I do like it, but I think in the shorter term, macro takes over. So it might be weak in the shorter term. And if you're a fan, I would say buy a bit at a time over the next 3 to 4 months. And I think it's worthwhile taking a punt on as a biotech.
Okay, all right. And if you're in it, certainly hold it by the sound of it.
Yeah.
Gaurav?
Yeah, I know this is one of Mathan's favorite sectors, so I was interested to get his take on it. This is a stock we've actually followed and recommended for a number of years, in fact, and it's not our natural hunting ground. We've actually got some specialist interest in this area. Our science kind of analyst has a lot of qualifications in this area, and he's got a natural interest in this area. So he does come up with weird and wonderful companies for us to look at from time to time. This is one of them. So Clinuvel has a chemical compound that deals with skin pigmentation. And it's used this single compound to launch a whole series of treatments for really rare and small-scale diseases. So the one that we're most interested in, they've got a treatment for vitiligo, which is a rare skin condition that discolors parts of the skin. It's a absolutely devastating disease if you get it, and the treatment options are quite few. They have one of the most promising treatments on the market. And running the numbers through the potential revenue and profit on that treatment, it is a company maker if it pans out. And so far, the signs are actually quite good. And then the icing on the cake really is that they can use that compound to then build other treatments, which they are currently doing. And the one we're talking about today, the one they announced about today, is a smaller, I would say less significant part of the optionality, but it does demonstrate what's possible here. You can take something that works and make some incremental changes to it to create new treatments, and that's the opportunity available here. They've got a revenue stream. They do have cash flow to draw upon. It's a good management team that are focused on solving very specific problems. I think that's key when you're delving into this area. You want a business that knows exactly what it's doing, unlike, say, Mesoblast, which just tries to do just scattergun approach and trying to find a hit out of nowhere. These guys are very focused on what they're doing, and I quite like the business. We've had a buy on it for about 2 years, actually, and I think that's, with the recent price correction, I think that remains the call now. So I'll go spec buy on this one as well.
Okay.
Absolutely fascinating to keep an eye on.